All right. All right. Well, we are back. We are back. We're gonna get ready to move on. I know we're talking about Bill Belichick, but I do have to put my 2 cents in. And once again, y'all know I'm a stats guy. First of all, my opinion, Belichick sucks. He's always been a terrible coach. And the only reason why he became halfway decent coach was because he got the GOAT. I could have coached Tom Brady. Well, no, I ain't gonna say that, but I'm not gonna say that. but let's look at the stats real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the last team. So if you look here, I found this up that in his 5 seasons with the Cleveland Browns, he had a losing record of 37-45. The first year with the Patriots, he was 5-11. And then when Mo Lewis hit Drew Bledsoe, he was already on a 2-game losing streak. Then in 2008, when Matt Castle came off the bench, he ended up being 11-5. So overall, where did I see that? Overall, his record without Tom Brady is 85-102. All I'm saying is any other coach in the NFL would have been fired with that record. He got lucky with Tom Brady. Because here's the thing, Tom Brady was the GOAT because Tom Brady made terrible players look good. So that's all I'm going to say, because the last thing I'm going to say, and this is going to be real short because we're going to hop off of football, but Bills Mafia, baby. We're going to see what we're going to do today. We're going to see what we're going to do today. We in the snow. Now, I will say this. The one problem I do have with today, and the game about to start in 9 minutes, the one thing will have a problem with is, well, let me rephrase that. I had a problem except for there was one thing we did in the mid-season that actually is going to help us. Because it's so snowy and everything down there, it's going to be a running game. But guess what? We picked up Leonard Fournette. Honestly, I thought that was an okay move. But you know what?
That was huge.
That was huge because we can literally run the ball with Fournette. He can catch, but he's a beast running. And this is perfect weather for him. This is the playoffs. We're not trying to satisfy nobody. Listen, I understand Diggs want the ball and everybody want the ball, and that's great. And maybe Josh will give them the ball. But one of the Bills' greatest games that we had this year was when we didn't let Josh Allen throw the ball that much. We did everything but that, and we killed somebody doing a run. James Cook is a good running back. Like I said, Leonard Fournette is a beast. If we can control the line of scrimmage and just run all over Pittsburgh, we're going to be all right. TJ Watt is not playing. And Pittsburgh, I feel sorry for Mike Tomlin. But anyway, last thing, predictions. Who, Bills Steelers, who you got, Pat?
I'm sorry. Wake me up when we talking about a real game, because that in itself is a snoozer, snore fest. It's gonna be a whole lot of 5 yards in a cloud of dust. I feel like if you allow Pittsburgh to actually beat you, they should actually have Bills fans getting beat, because this is a mismatch all the way around. Like, you got a team that flipped the coin and landed in the playoffs, and then you got another team that's supposed to be surging towards the Super Bowl. Don't lose the Sugar Bowl tonight, man. I know it's snowing. I know it looks like sugar. Don't lose the Sugar Bowl tonight, man. Don't do it.
What you got, Tay?
Well, as far as Mike Tomlin, I think he's arguably one of the greatest coaches to ever coach football. If you look at his stats and look at his background and what he's done, I think he's one of the, if not the most winningest coach. The most winning records in the history of the NFL. I think he's got like 17 consecutive winning seasons. Like, that's something crazy like that. But I could care less. because it's not my Niners. But I do think Buffalo is the better team, and they should win this game pretty easy. Um, but Mike Tomlin, I mean, he's a genius. So I mean, you got to go play. But I think the Bills got the edge for this one.
One of the things I'm always been is a true sports fan. I'm a realist and I'm going to keep it real. Y'all both wrong. Mike Tomlin is going to outcoach Sean McDermott because Sean McDermott gets outcoached every time he goes up against a great coach. Somehow, some way, Mike Tomlin going to figure it out and we going to get it. We going to have an upset. The Steelers is going to beat the Buffalo Bills today. And once again, I'm going to be sitting here saying Sean McDermott has got to go. I hope that's not wrong. But once again, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I think we have the team, but Andy Reid outcoached us. Whoever the coach was in Cincinnati, he outcoached us. We always seem to get outcoached, and Mike Tomlin can coach. It just be our luck that he outcoached us today. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna. My heart wants the Bills to win, so don't misunderstand me. But I'm gonna take the Steelers.
I ain't mad. They got too much missing in my opinion.
I agree. We should. But Dallas should have beat Green Bay.
That's a fact.
This is the NFL. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we'll see. Who's up next? Pat or Tay? Who was up next?
Tay is up next.
What's your subject?
Man. Let's go dribble that ball a little bit.
All
right, guys.
Basketball.
I am, the coaching background. A lot of people don't know I've been coaching over 25 years on a school ball level from middle school to high school. So it's a little passion of mine. I do have a little rec, and I got a lot of AAU. But anyway, on to the hardwood. So here's my thing about basketball. I want to ask you guys a question to start it off. Is the NBA real basketball or entertainment?
Ooh, you asking the wrong person. He don't know me, do he, Pat?
No, I love it.
Go ahead, Pat.
Hey, stay with me now. Stay with me.
It's got very high entertainment value. The rules say so. The rules say that we need this entertainment value so we can keep viewership and we can water it down to where, and I don't like to say this about people, so please don't get me wrong. A fan is a fan is a fan. But I think it's been watered down to the point of where they only care about offense and they only care about how many points they score. And that appeals to casual fans, including people who've never even played in their backyard. It's just something fun to watch and keeping your attention because it moves so much up and down the court. It doesn't feel real, doesn't seem real. The skill level now to put the ball in the hole doesn't seem as difficult as it used to be, as it was when you had other people playing. And I'm not talking about way back in the day. I'm even talking about, in the mid to early 2000s. It was more difficult then than it is now. And they said something about changing the rules to put in a 4-point shot. Come on. This is purely entertainment.
Okay.
What you think, Cece?
Waiting on me. Okay. All my friends know how I feel about sports in general. I believe all sports is rigged. All of them. And here's why. I'm a billionaire. All the owners is billionaires. The
Hmm.
NFL, the NBA, football, baseball, hockey, they all are owned by billionaires paying players to be millionaires. Am I really going to leave my $1 billion business up for chance? Not doing that. Me as a billionaire owner who has a franchise that depends on people to tune in, I'm going to make sure that whatever I do is going to make me money. I'm gonna give a short story. So I love to cook. So my wife didn't know I know how to cook for a long time. So one particular day I decided I was gonna make her some chicken and dumplings. I said, baby, you ever had chicken and dumplings? She's like, no. I'm gonna make you some chicken and dumplings. Okay. So I made them from scratch. It took a long time. I had to cut up the meat. I put the dumplings in and everything. But when I put the dumplings in, instead of them staying firm and round, it spread over to the whole pot. It looked terrible. But when my wife ate it, it tasted good. Now, my point is this. Even though my chicken and dumplings tasted good, because it didn't look good, ain't nobody about to eat that. It's the same with the NBA. The NBA looks good because, they're trying to be entertaining. But the reality is they don't play defense. I think sports betting is terrible for sports because you cannot tell me some of these calls does not affect the game, especially at the end. I saw a call the other day. Somebody I think it was Jaylen Brown, got clearly slapped on the head, but they didn't call it. Why? Is it because the point margins? Because we got millions of dollars in betting going on that we need this to go just the right way? How about yesterday's game? Remember, Dallas was getting crushed, and then all of a sudden, they comes all the way back. Well, because, we need the over and under to be a certain point. So, in my opinion, now, mind you, I remember when I first found out pro wrestling was fake. Because growing up, I thought it was real.
Hmm.
And then I found out it was fake. I was upset.
Hmm.
I am still one of the biggest WWE fans in the world. I know it's fake. I still tune in. Yes, I do. When The Rock came out the other night, I was like, oh, The Rock is back. Yes. Because even though I know it's fake, I'm still entertained. I think sports is rigged, but I'm still entertained. I'm still going to tune in. But that's my opinion. So yes, I think all sports is entertainment. I don't think it's competitive anymore to the degree because I think it's fixed. But I think it's entertainment. I think it's there to entertain us. That's why they call it professional. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Tay. It's on you.
No. I agree. You actually hit all of the points that I was going to make. I actually think that it's definitely about the money. It's not a much. So my point with basketball, going back to basketball, NBA, definitely I feel like it's just about the entertainment. College level has become about entertainment. The problem is high school has become entertainment. We are watching kids now play across the nation on television for money in high school. So how do we tell our kids that high school basketball is a stepping stone to get to the next level? It's not. You can make a career in high school now. We're not going to name any names, but it's kids playing high school ball that are college graduate ages.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're getting paid to do it. So where do we go from here with high school basketball? What do you think, Cecil?
I got one thing y'all gonna learn. I got a story for everything. Patrick, did you know me when I adopted the boys?
No.
Okay. So me and my wife, we adopted some boys some years ago. And David was at 11 years old, he was already 5'11", 210. Justin
Mm.
played running back, and Justin's always been strong. And I remember taking him to their football games. And of course, Justin being a running back, Justin played for this one team that they was not good without him. Justin, I remember he played, and both of y'all know, Justin's team played Derrida. And when Justin
Mm-hmm.
got the football and ran through the hole, he hit folks so hard, kids from Derrida was crying. So Derrida is a team. This kid, Chris, who I knew, came over to this coach and was complaining because he was like, won't nobody tackle him? Won't nobody tackle him? So, me personally, playing sports and being the type of person I am, it didn't bother me when a coach pulled him out and let some other players play. It just didn't bother me. I'm like, everybody just a chance to play, so that's just fine. I had other parents mad at me because I wouldn't go down there and complain to the coach about putting my son in so we can win this game. Because it has gotten to the point in sports, high school sports, intramurals, all of it is no longer for fun. It is no longer for the social skills you get by being on a team and learning to be a team player. It's all about the camps, spending a whole bunch of money, getting my child to the point in which hopefully they can be in the NBA. Everybody's child is the next Zion Williams. Everybody's child is the next LeBron James. And the reality is, us as parents, we see our child as kings and queens, but some of them are paupers. Some of our kids
Mm-hmm.
ain't really nearly as good as we think they are. And if they are, they don't know how to play well with others. But that's my little rant. I think it's a tragedy to the kids that we have allowed the money to infiltrate high school. I don't think it's good for character. I don't think it's good overall. I think it's terrible. I hate AAU. I mean, I love the reason for them, but I hate AAU because it's taking the fun out the game. We got kids already want to kill themselves because of low self-esteem. Now we get putting pressure on 14-year-olds to make a basket. But that's my take. I told you I could talk.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Pat?
Cecil had a lot of the points right on the head. The NIL deals for high school students and the money. Some of these kids see that as their way of making it. So outside of sports, we know that there's a real thing with student athletes. We know that not every student has a place to go when they go home. It's a sad but true thing. They don't have a home to go to. Some people go to shelters, and they're playing their way at a young age to earn that money. Some of them will spend it on small things or things that we don't take for value, gold chains, cars, whatever. But some of these kids out here are doing it to buy school clothes for themselves, their siblings, and put food on the table for their parents that aren't doing any better, from NIL deals. What gets to me is, like Cecil said, the coaching part of it. You're coaching kids for these opportunities for yourself. Those coaches that do those things are the ones that mire the sport. They muck it up. They turn around and they grab a hope of a player and say, I can get this NIL deal for you. I can make sure that you go out here and shoot 1,000 points, 1,000 shots, score 1,000 points. You've got, 14 other kids on the team, coach. you're sticking behind this one particular player and you're coaching and running your game through this player, but not for the right reasons. You want that player to shine so you can shine. You want that player on your team because that player represents you. And you're trying to sell that dream off to the next kid that comes along. Um, the entertainment value for high school, you've got kids moving around. They're being televised on television, ESPN, ESPN2. Instead of NBA games, they're playing high school games prior to NBA games. You're seeing a high schooler on television before you see an NBA player. You've got more high schoolers that are known than college players. They're making their names and their bones in high school, which has filtered down to where's the amateur in all of this? Where's the amateur? You put professionalism all the way down to if I am of the age of 13 or 14, I might as well become a professional as soon as I hit 15 years old. And I know I'm not ready for that. I mean, we see it all the time. These kids can't even manage to get to school on time. How are you going to manage millions of dollars? How are your parents going to manage millions of dollars? What's good for a few should not be given to a many because it's going to confuse, change the standards, and mess up everything for basketball and other sports as well. That's just my take.
I definitely agree with both of you. And I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. Next question, I'll just leave it at that because I'm like you, see, so I could go on and on and on and on and on about that, about most conversations, but I'm gonna let that one go. Next question, what do you guys think about this being able to transfer from one school? I mean, and this is related to all colleges, uh, all college sports. Being able to transfer from one school mid-season and being able to play at the school you transfer to. What do you think about that, Pat?
I think that rule was implemented. I think it actually, for me, I'm in favor of it. I think a lot of these kids lose opportunities when they transfer and they want to be an impact. These coaches didn't get them over through the transfer portal for them to wait next year. I want to see what you can do with this year's team. I need an added boost. I need something that I'm not getting right now. And I think you can provide it. I think that is uh, a good thing. A kid who might have been, below the radar on one team, he jumps on a more high profile team and contributes. He changes his life trajectory. Um, Being able to enjoy these players while they are in their, I don't want to say their prime, but while they're playing the best ball of right now. Who knows what you'll do next year? I actually like the fact that you can transfer and play. Now, does it give an unfair advantage to some teams depending upon if you allow them to transfer? Absolutely. I don't want to see a powerhouse team add another kid that says, you know what, I'm playing for this powerhouse, but it looks like they're headed to the national championship. Let me just jump on your team, and coach, go ahead and play me. I don't like seeing that, but what I do like is seeing the parity. I'm seeing so many upsets right now in college basketball where I'm seeing teams like Kentucky get beat by Appalachian State. I mean, it's become to the point where you got to be careful about who you're giving scholarships out to, who you're adding to your team. Uh, you got to really play this out right, and you got to be a heck of a coach nowadays to win some of these games, and not just a recruiter like we've seen in the past.
Understood. Do you have a take on this one, Cecil?
Yeah, apologize for that. I saw the
No
stream was
worries.
I had to adjust the internet. I just had it wireless. Um, Here's my thing. I'm not going to say if I like it or not. What I will answer is from is history. We're at this point because the NCAA didn't want to do right by players. And what I mean by that is for years, the NCAA was making billions of free education. Okay, but you're making billions of dollars. So what has happened is players have decided, or society has decided, that we are no longer going to be slaves. You want to pay us. And they rushed it out there without thinking, which I didn't have a problem with because at least we got something. But now what we have is chaos. You got players making $2 million to play for Florida State, but now I don't want to play with them anymore, so I'm going to go someplace else. We got other players, instead of competing to be number one on the team you're on, I could go over here. I can leave Alabama and go to West Virginia and be the starting quarterback there. But I understand. I get it. Because, okay, let's look at last year's recruiting class. And I wish I had the numbers, but I think Alabama was in the top 5 recruiting class last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saban just decided he wanted to retire. Washington just went to the national championship. So they had a good recruiting class going around. But the coach just jumped and said, hey, I'm going to Alabama. And there's no repercussions for the coaches whatsoever. They could just jump around as they please. And the players before said, well, I didn't come to Washington. Who would want to play for Washington? Oh, let's do better. Who would want to play for Buffalo? Nobody. Khalil Mack went there, but at that time, we had a really good coach, and he did some really good recruiting. But I can guarantee you, Khalil Mack didn't come to play for Buffalo because of Buffalo. He didn't. Right. He came to play with the coach. What happens when the coach leaves? Hopefully, Pat will be back in a minute. I see there you go. He's back.
There you go.
So coaches can leave when they want to, and everything is fair. So I see it both ways. I see why players deserve to get paid. I see why players want to go into the portal. I see why it's set up that way. It's chaotic, but honestly, I personally can't think of an answer. I don't have a good solution that's going to make everybody want to do anything. I mean, I don't want to make a player play for a team for 4 years because you committed. You're not doing that to the coaches. I don't want to not pay the players, especially when Texas A&M all of a sudden goes out and build them a whole brand new stadium because Johnny Manziel got the fans in the stadium. Johnny Manziel didn't get any of that. Well, he kind of did get some of that money, but that was supposed to be illegal. But before, think about that. Reggie Bush lost his Heisman for doing the same thing Johnny Manziel did. But now It's legal. So it's the Wild Wild West right now. That's my opinion. It's the Wild Wild West. I don't know what a solution is, but it is what we got. What's your take, Tay?
Yeah, I definitely can see both sides of it. I could do a rant on that too, but we'll be hitting a lot of the same points. So I'm not going to say so. But what I will say is I will leave this with you. In basketball, coaches and I were talking about it today at practice. And if I'm not mistaken, you can't quote me, but I'm pretty sure over 60% of D2
I think we lost you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Over 60% of D2. Okay, over 60% of D2 transfers are still in the portal. And over 50% of D1 transfers are still in the portal with nowhere to play.
Wow.
Just leave that on there. And that's where the mindset comes in about the transfers. That's going to increase once these guys are able to transfer the way and start fixating on how to maneuver in this transfer portal in that way. I think those numbers will go up. All right. Will the Bucks make it to the championship?
Hold on, Tay. Let me ask you one question before you change back to that.
Yes, sir.
How do I want to put this? Do you think that the parents have some responsibility on their children's decisions as far as the portal goes?
I definitely do. I think they have 50% of that easily. I just dealt that with me and my wife just dealt with that with our oldest son. And our biggest thing is, look, we're looking for a fit for you for college, not for a college for you. And for us, that means it doesn't matter if it's a 1, 2, or 3 behind the D. It means where is the best place for you to get your education and potentially enjoy your athletic career. And that's what we did our homework on. And hopefully with him, hopefully we found the right fit for him and it works. But I definitely agree that parents have a lot to do with it. I think a lot of parents are following names, they're following clout, and they're looking for colleges in the wrong aspects. My wife and I wanted a college that will work for our son. That's what we were looking for. We're not looking to force him to fit a college. And to us, that means he can go somewhere and not look to transfer. He can go there and be happy and comfortable at that particular school for the next 4 years. And of course, things happen. And if something happens, we'll cross that bridge then. But we are definitely responsible for a lot of those situations. And I think the kids need to be involved in that. But parents still have to be parents.
Cool beans. You said you had another subject?
Oh, last subject. Are the Bucks good enough with Dame Lillard to make it back to the big dance?
Tampa Bay?
Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, okay. Oh, you said with Dame Lillard. Pat, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll chime in. I think Lillard adds an extra punch to their firepower. However, he has to chemistry wise make sure that he can get a good fit with not only the Greek Freak, but with Middleton and any other players that they need in the moment. He needs to make sure that he can play both sides of the ball and at the consistency level. Like Dame's used to doing a lot of things by himself. And I don't blame him. He was in Portland. But he needs to make sure that they're given for full team effort. Are they capable of making it? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. You've got other teams been building chemistry for a while. The Celtics, they're in the way. Miami, they're in the way. You're looking at a lot of these teams that have already been to the big dance and know how to get there. Dame's never been, but he's on a team that can potentially take him there. I think that they got a good chance. Can I say 100% certain? No, absolutely not. But they got a good chance to make it.
I'm going to say no. And the reason being is because play-wise, I have not seen the NBA quote unquote this good in a long time. Sacramento is a beast. You have a lot of teams that are out there right now that are just good. OKC. Oh my God. I looked at this team the other day. I'm like, God, where'd they come from? Um, Giannis is a great player. I think Dame is a great player. But I wonder, it's like what Pat said, Dame is used to being by himself, doing it all. I don't know. I don't see it. Not this year. Maybe after a year of playing together, yes. But this year, it's too many good teams, and I don't think Milwaukee has enough chemistry. Say,
All right, I agree with that. I think it'll be either Milwaukee or the Celtics. I don't think anybody can beat the Celtics in a 7 game series if they're healthy. But if somebody was to beat them, I think it would be the Bucks. So I'm kind of on the fence with that. So I could say they'll have an opportunity to get there. Last thing I would talk about today with basketball, because it's so much, just like it is with any other sport. Best best team in the West. Who you got?
mm, I'll let you go first, Pat. I'm thinking about that.
um, I think you mentioned their name already. I think OKC looks like they can they can beat anybody on any given night. They've got outstanding players, but they buy into what they do on the court. Like I know Victor Wembanyama is phenomenal. He is great. But there's another kid over there by the name of Chet Holmgren that
Yep.
is playing out of his mind. There's an underrated superstar by the name of Shea Alexander Gilchrist that is playing out of his mind. And they finally put together this young team to where we don't care who we play against. The names don't matter anymore. We are the name. OKC is reminding me of a more team related version of Durant, Westbrook, Harden, and Ibaka. I mean, they're playing. They're playing ball. And the other teams, for some reason, just can't keep up. Um, and they play both sides. And they're really playing real defense out there. They're not just giving you whatever. And the crazy part is, on any given night, it can be anybody from their team to give you buckets. Like anybody. Like they could probably call some fans out the crowd and be like, hey, go ahead and give me 20. It probably can happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like they found the magic. And I don't know if you all ever seen that movie Thunderstruck, where the kid steals Kevin Durant's powers.
Hmm.
Then it stole his powers and then gave it to the entire team. That's what's happened in OKC.
I cannot disagree with that. I've seen OKC and they look really good. But Sacramento looks really good. There's a lot of teams in the
There you
West look good.
go.
I could I can do a better job at telling you who's not coming out of the West than I can tell you who's. Golden State, I don't see it. They got Curry, but it just seems that the chemistry is gone. Um,
Hmm.
the Clippers, I don't know what's wrong with this team. The Lakers, no, they got LeBron, and that's kind of it. You know, um, like I said, Sacramento looks really good. OKC looks really good. Denver once again is one of the most underrated teams. Joker is crazy. It's a crazy guy.
Hmm.
He's leading the league in triple doubles again. Jamal Murray is
Hmm.
doing his thing. Um, I can't call it. I'm sorry, I can't. It's too many good teams. Um, New Orleans, sometimes they decide they want to play good.
Yeah.
You just can't tell anymore. It's deep. Oh, and we forgot about Indiana. Is they in the West or the East?
They're in the East. They're in the East.
Okay. Because in Indiana, oh my God. Dude,
Yeah.
I love the NBA
Yeah.
right now. Except for Charlotte. How come the Hornets can't do nothing ever?
Hey, the Hornets are in that predicament of a $1 billion owner that's just making money. That's where they are. They're making money. They're not trying to win. And you can tell they're not trying to win. They're making money.
I promise y'all, I'm gonna stop these rants. I am. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna learn not to go on these tangents. I'm gonna do what it takes not to do it, because I'm just trying to find out: do y'all really want me to be a fan?
No,
I just don't understand.
they don't.
Y'all
They
don't
don't.
really want me.
They don't want me to be a fan.
Dude, it's not that.
And that's all I got.
Oh, Lord.
That's my guy.
Okay. Well,
That's-
that is on you, man.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
The I don't even think I gave you my pick. My pick was I don't know who can win a 7-game series. That's my problem. I think all of those teams that we named are good, but I think if we got to go 7 games, I'm taking Denver, and if you got to go 7 games, I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay.
But I'm done. Go ahead, Pat.
I'm going to move forward to a sport that's been out here for a while, but we don't really talk about it a whole lot. It gets a little pub, but recently has been on my mind because it seems to be slowly dying out. Networks are backing off of it. We're not carrying it in the fashion we used to, and it's boxing. Recently we had the pullout of Showtime from boxing. The last show for Showtime boxing was in December of 2023. So there's no more fights on Showtime. HBO pulled out a few years ago. And so the only thing that we have now is ESPN, DAZN, and Triller from time to time. We haven't seen any fights on ABC or NBC in a while. It doesn't even look like the PBC is still fighting on NBC. Like that romance looked like it crashed and burned after the first year. But there are plenty of good fights to be made. And finally, I think fighters are taking the matters into their own hands. Everybody says that they're prize fighters, but as fans, we're the ones losing. We understand what you've chosen as a profession, but we didn't make you choose that as a profession. We do watch, and we do for entertainment purposes. We pay money from time to time to watch pay-per-view, but I'm not gonna pay money to watch you fight some dude that I've never heard of, and I watch boxing. And you expecting for your very next fight to get paid thousands of dollars because you beat somebody we never heard of. Everybody's a nobody till they become a somebody. But in order to become somebody, you got to be willing to fight and get your name out there, and willing to fight several times on places without getting paid pay-per-view bucks. I mean, at some point in time, you gotta say, I gotta invest in it just like the fans gotta invest. You invest in training camps, and yeah, you taking punches, and it's a dangerous sport. But so are football players, so are hockey players, so are a lot of players that you never even heard of. And there is no, other than the amateurs, there is no B league for boxing. There is no developmental league for boxing. It's just amateur and pro. And so we're watching, I feel in some instances, the G League or the D League when we're watching some of these fights. It's, you know, and I don't need to see a rock and sock 'em. I love the sweet science of boxing. One of my favorite fighters is Bernard Hopkins. Bernard wasn't known for knockouts. He was just known as being a wily, crafty veteran. He wasn't, super exciting, super explosive, but he knew how to win. I don't criticize Floyd because he knows how to win. He might be boring, but he knows how to win. And I'll still tune in, not to see him lose, but solely because I actually enjoy some of the craftiness that he displays. So, with that being said, there have been some questions about boxing. Can either of you name me 5 fighters or 10 fighters that you can say are related to this sport right now in boxing that you know of? Any 10 fighters that are still fighting currently today?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to try to make this short. I stopped watching boxing a while ago just because something happened with the. I think it was right after Roy Jones Jr. A lot of things just wasn't the same, at least in the heavyweight division. And I think at the time, the middleweight division wasn't really a whole lot. So I've kind of off. I know of Tyson Fury, but and is the Klinko brothers, is that what they name? Is they still boxing?
They're retired.
Tell you how long it's been. So I can tell you one, Tyson Fury. And I know him from the WWE.
Right. What about you, Tay?
Well, me, man, I stopped watching boxing a while ago simply because UFC came along and boxing took such a back seat to everything. The training and to set up the fights, it takes so long, and there's not enough boxers out here that's doing it anymore to keep your interest on a high level with all the other sports that's going on now, for me. And, UFC came along, and you could find a UFC fight on almost every day, some form of kickboxing or something of that sort. But it's not a lot of boxing that's still on television. I mean, you can find old fights, of course, but there's just not a lot of amateur boxing on television that you could just look at and, kind of develop a relationship with these guys. So I can't tell you any boxer that's still boxing right now, not one.
You know what? And I was thinking about this too. If I had to pinpoint the ultimate downfall of boxing, and hear me out, was Mike Tyson. I'm going to tell you why. I remember the Mike Tyson, I think it was Michael Spinks fight. It was pay-per-view, and I think I had to pay $59 for it. And I had a party and everything. Unfortunately, I had to work, but I knew Mike wasn't going to fight at least until midnight. So I didn't get off of work at 11:30. Where I was staying at was like a 5-minute drive or whatever. So I gets off of work, I runs home to the pay-per-view that I spent $59 for. I got a house full of people and everybody's leaving. Why? Because Mike Tyson knocked him out so quickly. So, being, not rich, I can't afford to be spending $59 for a 1-minute fight. And after then, and boxing really didn't do they stopped doing ABC. You remember how they used the wide world of sports and stuff? They stopped doing it for free. Mm-hmm. Everything was pay-per-view, and it wasn't worth it. Then when I think Floyd Mayweather, and like you said, Bernard Hopkins came out, well, Mike Tyson was knocking out everybody. But then you had the true technicians who was coming in and they was out punching you. But ain't nobody want to see that. I want to see somebody get their head knocked off. So after that, I think that was the shift. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Mike, But I think that kind of shifted because then when UFC came along, that's what you were seeing. Kimbo Slice.
Right.
My first introduction to UFC was Kimbo Slice. I was watching him on YouTube and he was doing the bare knuckle fights and knocking folks out. So when he went to the UFC, I wanted to check it out. You know, that's my thing. That's what I got.
I think both of you all have valid points. I think for the casual fan, they're not going to tune in to boxing to watch technicians. They want to see a rock'em sock'em fight. They want to see plenty of action. I have mixed reviews when it comes to UFC because they're action to a degree, but then they get to grappling on the ground, and then they're wrestling around, and then, you know, there's big lulls in the action from there for me. Yeah, you can get somebody choked out or a submission, but typically they're not really working towards that constantly. And even if they are, it happens when somebody gives up a position. After you get so high up, it's not going to happen. But we've had in boxing better fights that aren't getting the attention because you can't follow them. You can't follow the stars. You don't have enough presence in everyday life to where you can pick up fans. We had Terrence Crawford fight Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford is a great fighter. Errol Spence is a great fighter. They are throwback fighters that they're comparing to Sugar Ray Leonard. They're comparing to Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns, and Marvin Hagler. I mean, they're cut from that type of cloth. You've got hardcore boxing fans that tune in. It's almost like boxing is getting the same type of viewership that football or soccer is getting. More fans from other countries are turning in to watch certain types of fights. And then when they show up in the arena, they're showing up. But you can't follow your favorite fighter. You just can't, because they don't fight often enough. They don't have any other presence that's out here on media. They don't have cartoons made after them. They don't have, Tyson Fury and Floyd Mayweather. They tried to cross over and go to WWE for entertainment purposes. So you can bring more fans back over to actual boxing. Francis Ngannou is a UFC fighter. He skipped the line, fought Tyson Fury as what was supposed to be in his mind.
He beat him. He beat Tyson Fury
in an exhibition.
Whatever. He beat Tyson Fury.
And I hear you. I mean, I can't disagree except for the result says that he did. But he most definitely said, okay, he beat him in his mind. Now, Francis Ngannou has never had a professional boxing match in his life until that day. And you're not fighting just anybody. You're fighting the undisputed heavyweight champion of the entire world, who is undefeated. He's the lineal champ. You basically beat him. So now he's jumping the line again and fighting Anthony Joshua. You know how many fighters there are lined up? I'm gonna list you the heavyweights that are in line to fight. So Tyson Fury's at the top. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to fight Alexander Usyk. That fight didn't happen because of what happened with Tyson Fury and Ngannou. Okay. Anthony Joshua is ranked number 3. This is by ESPN. Ranked number 3. He's fighting Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker's in line. Joseph Parker been fighting forever. He's had some ups and downs. Not going anywhere. Zhilei Zhang, a really great fighter. As far as power goes, entertaining. Doesn't look like he has that movement or the ability to be a great fighter, but entertaining. Most people never even heard of. He skipped him, skipped Joseph Parker. Um, I've been watching boxing for a while. Number 6 is Philip Hovergarf. Never heard of him. Next fight to be announced. Deontay Wilder just lost to Joseph Parker. Very entertaining fighter. Bought a lot to boxing because he had one punch power. Never the world's greatest boxer. Underutilized jab. Not enough footwork. Always leans back when he's hit because he's used to being taller than most of his opponents. Needs to find a new way to recreate and reinvent himself in order to be a better boxer. Love Deontay. Just not a fan of his boxing abilities right now. Jared Anderson, new kid coming up, kicking up a lot of dust. Again, people never heard of him. Skipped him as well. Martin Bloke, never heard of him. He beat Carlos Taco. Only know him because he fought Anthony Joshua and somebody else. Daniel Dubois got robbed. Should have been a heavyweight champion. I think he beat Alexander Usyk. They called him low blow. That was nonsense. Everybody knows he should have been champ. But then, he turns around and gets knocked out. But he beats Jarrell Miller, who is the most entertaining trash talker. If you watch UFC, you might know Chael Sonnen. I am going to say to you that Jarrell Miller is a better trash talker than Chael Sonnen. However, this joker has just gotten arrested for carjacking. I didn't even think carjacking was a thing in 2023. You are a professional prize fighter and you are arrested for carjacking. That's not keeping it real. That's keeping it real stupid. I know that you don't fight as much as you need to. I know you were suspended for taking performance-enhancing drugs. I know that you don't run or cut weight. But your mouth had the ability to draw enough fans to you to where that wasn't a thing. I'm going to skip these other divisions and get right down to the meat and potatoes. Of course, we got Canelo Alvarez out here, and he seems to be fighting somebody at least 3 times a week. Kudos to Canelo for being not only good, but being active. Thank you, Canelo, for going out here and fighting and being a prize fighter, because I don't think that he really ducks smoke like that. I just think that he just fills up his dance card with whomever. And yeah, there may be a little bit of a cherry picking involved. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to fight everybody and their grandma, especially as often as he fights. He deserves to cherry pick every blue moon since he's more active than everybody else. Like, let's be real. David Benavidez, getting a lot of pub as the Mexican Monster. Seems to be a good fighter, solid chin. His feet are slow. He doesn't have a lot of movement. He seems to be able to cut you off with power. A good power boxer should be able to give him fits. David Morrell is a knockout puncher who's waiting to get knocked out by David Benavidez. He is going to destroy David Morrell. Stop being rah-rah and talking all that nonsense. You're going to get whooped. Caleb Plant, you're the white guy in the division you're actually a pretty decent boxer. You've actually been around for a little while. You're actually pretty decent. Just not enough power, not enough stamina to prepare you to sustain a #1 ranking in any weight division. You're always going to be subpar, because until you improve upon your stamina and improve upon your boxability, you're going to fade every time around the 6th round in any good fighter's fight. You're going to beat bums. There's no bums in boxing, but you're going to beat less good fighters, but that's it. That's your cap. You're silly. John Ryder's only famous because he fought Canelo. Jaime Munguia is another fighter who is the biggest hype job next to Peyton Manning in football that I've ever seen. Christine Billy just fought on TV saying that he wants to fight Canelo. You want stitches and a hospital bill is what you're asking for. You're not that good. You can't, to be honest with you, other than your work ethic, he's the equivalent of being what's the guy that we had here in basketball that was here that went over to the Toronto Raptors, came back.
Are you talking about Biyombo?
He is the Bismack Biyombo of the boxing class here. You're going to put in the hard work. You're going to fight, but you get hit too much, and you're not really that good. You just put forth. You bring your lunch bill. You are the new age Glenn Johnson. And that's what your record would say. Demetrius Andrade, brother, I don't even know to call you a professional or not. You are somebody who did very well in the amateurs, feasted on a lot of lesser opponents. I didn't even know you were fighting. Don't even know how you sustain a living because you don't fight enough. I know you had promotional problems and chose to choose the little man, but Demetrius Andrade, dude, stop fighting. Like, it's over. You're a semi-retired boxer, okay? You don't fight it, and you're not trying to fight anybody. You're just looking for a paycheck, and you age sitting on the vine. Anybody ever had food sitting in the refrigerator that went bad because you didn't eat it, and you had to throw it away, but you really wanted that food at the time you wanted it, but all the other times you forgot about it? That's Boo Boo Andrade. That's him in a nutshell. No, anything else to it. That's him. Talk about the big names we do know. We can talk about the Charlo twins. I like the Charlos to a degree, but at some point in time, you got to continuously fight good opponents to let us know you're good. Right now, unfortunately, I think we've seen the best of the Charlos. Due to other issues, we've seen the best of the Charlos. Tim Tszyu, Kostya Tszyu's son. If anybody's familiar with boxing, Kostya Tszyu, good fighter, coming up. Tim Tszyu, just as good. Very underrated, even though he's ranked number 2 in his division. Very underrated. I see star potential from Tim Tszyu. And Charlos, leave that boy alone. Leave him alone. You do not want those problems at all. Virgil Ortiz, another guy on my list. Virgil Ortiz, brother, I pray for you, and in all sincerity, I want you to be well so that you can actually fight and make others unwell because you have that ability. I'm sorry about your health problems, but you're a good fighter. You need to take better chances, and I don't think you're afraid of that smoke. Oscar, let him fight because nobody held you back either. Let him fight, man. Let him fight. We're looking at Terrence Crawford. I've always been Bud's buddy. That's my man. That's my guy. T. Bud Crawford, if there was a thing that said, I want to smoke, he would be the living incarnation of I want to smoke. Never ducked or dodged anybody. I knew he was special when he beat Breeders Prescott, and nobody had ever heard of him, and everybody thought he was going to get knocked out, and he went out and whooped that boy. And I'm talking about whooped him with a belt, with a W, with a capital W. Errol Spence, that's my guy. Errol Spence is my guy too. Ever since he gave Floyd Mayweather problems in the gym, he's been special. Just need to leave all these other outside activities alone. I think he's maturing as a human being, and he won't make the same mistakes in life that he made in the past that may have cost him opportunities. I think God has seen fit to give you another chance, brother. Make the most of it for what's left of your career. Jerron Ennis, special talent. Please find one of the Russell boys to fight. Their whole family isn't hiding. I know they've been going through a lot, but Antoine Russell keep talking about how he whooped you in the amateurs and how he's undefeated now. Please either give him a payday and stop him from talking, or get him on the map by giving him a fight. Either way it goes, brother help brother. You know what I mean? Y'all boxing brothers help each other out. Jerron Ennis, if you can't find anybody to fight, please find Antoine Russell to fight. Because, between him and the 4 of his brothers, I think they've all fought once in 4 years. So they each took a round. I'm going to fight these first 2 rounds. You get out the ring. You fight the next 2. You get out the ring. You fight the next 2. They are inactive, and they need to be better. Stanionis, Apparently, you can fight. Everybody says so, but you only got 14 of those things. Find somebody to fight, man, so we can really see who you are, and don't let it be in some foreign country. We don't want that. We'll move on to we're gonna skip Conor Ben. Devin Haney, Telefino Lopez, please fight each other. Devin Haney's from Oakland. Bill Haney, love what you do to support your boy. Telefino Lopez, you're a heck of a fighter. I don't know if I agree with all your outside views, but you're a heck of a fighter. And the fact that you're fighting Jamie Ortiz makes me know that you're not ducking anybody. Jamie Ortiz, please stay focused during this fight. You're a heck of a fighter, and I honestly think that fight with you and Vasily Lomachenko was a lot closer than what they made it. Keep fighting. We're gonna skip on down to Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, good fighter, not as good as what you believe. A lot of talent. You got a lot of talent, brother. And I apologize, y'all. I gotta knock these boxes out. I gotta give them some love some kind of way. Ryan Garcia, fast hands, fast feet, carries some power, just not on the level as everybody else. He can think things through, but Ryan's his own man, and that's what you're gonna get from him. He's his own man, and he's been trying to prove that to everybody. Ryan, you're your own man. You ain't got to prove it anymore. Go out here and concentrate on fight. Leave promotions and everything else alone. You got nothing else to prove. We understand you're fully grown. Fight who you want to fight. Leave Oscar alone. Don't say anything about your promotional promoters. You can leave them at any point in time you want to. Fight somebody and make it go through. I know you want to smoke, but don't fight them for clout, and don't just go around because you got an L on your record fighting anybody and not having a chance to beat them. Really train and find some fundamentals and get out there. You're better than what you're showing right now. You just got to prove it to yourself. We know you're a grown man. Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis, Tank, very underrated fighter. Mike Tyson's favorite. Some people say he's overhyped. Tank is very smart. Forget how he talks in and out the ring. The purses that he carries with, man bags, that he carries with him. Those type of things. He has a different internal personality. But Tank is a heck of a fighter. And people, stop terrorizing boxers, man. That man got a family. He got stuff that he's trying to get done in his life. And you got the audacity to come and set something on fire. If that's true, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll find yourselves on the opposite side of the street for something else you don't want to happen. So don't attack people because you don't know them. You don't know them. Like, leave boxing in the ring to the boxers. Tank, keep knocking people out. Keep doing what you do. Like, they'll only know how great you are until you fight somebody as great or greater. Then we want to see what you made of. Vasily Lomachenko, you should have fought more when you were younger. You had too many amateur fights. You've only fought 20 fights in your entire career, and you're on the way out. Yes, Devin Haney should have been a draw, but you haven't fought anybody since May 20th, and nobody's on your radar. Terrible. Fight somebody else or retire. But you're not worn. Shakur Stevenson, you're really good. You fought the last fight going backwards, forwards, and it was the snore fest. You set the record for the least amount of, the lowest percentage of connects, least amount of connects in a fight, and you still won a unanimous decision. Redeem yourself, brother. Fight somebody who's going to fight you. Don't pick out a guy because he got a ranking. Pick out a guy that's going to make an entertainment fight and bring boxing back to the map. Other than that, the rest of these guys, y'all probably could care less about. But I wanted to show a little love to the fight game. That's it for me.
Well, Tay, you got any questions or statements?
Man, I'm so lost on that boxing. I don't know none of those guys. Hey, I had a personal vendetta against them boys. He went in on
No,
them.
I know. But you know what? And all that, Pat, once again, you kind of have proven my point. And this is what I'm talking about. $1 billion business not left up to chance. They just willy-nilly doing anything, but they've lost viewership and all kind of stuff because they just not leaving it up to chance. Because if you was a good businessman, if boxing was conducting themselves the same way the NFL do, Tyson Chandler would have never fought Frank. There's no way
Right.
I'm putting up my #1 ranked overall world heavyweight championship against a UFC fighter. And because here's the thing, here's another reason why I left boxing: the cheating or the scoring. I'll put it that way. Because first they said, well, it only matters if you hit with this part of the glove, and what? Don't nobody care about that. What I saw was somebody got decimated. He clearly should have won. And I'm not talking about just Tyson Fury. I'm talking about boxing in general. But we go to the scorecards, and it should be an overwhelming victory for one person. And then you hear Michael Buffer says, we have a split decision. Right then and there, you know the fix is in. And my thing is, if they ran it more like entertainment, then like you said, one, maybe boxers would box more often. Or maybe we get really good matchups. There wouldn't be somebody jumping everybody because of politics, because of money. It'd be all based on entertainment. We see matchups that we want to see, when we want to see them, and they be more, because that's what the UFC does. They hype everything. I've seen some UFC matches, and I'm like, I have no idea who this is, but it looked good. The previews looked like, ooh, this might be the fight. And I don't even know who's fighting, but they promoted it so well. I got to tune in. I got to find out what's going on. Boxing does not do that. Boxing, like you said, they put people out there, and like I know who Canelo is. Ain't that like the CCG guy or the CCC guy?
Canelo, he's the Hispanic guy, the guy who's been fighting everybody.
What's his nickname?
Canelo's nickname. It's Saul Canelo Alvarez. So Saul Alvarez is his real name, but they call him Canelo, Cinnamon.
Okay.
He fought Floyd a while back. And he's a heck of a fighter, man. He's a heck of a fighter.
Here's my thing, and I'm older, so when I was younger, they promoted Ali, Frazier, Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard. Remember when Sugar Ray Leonard got that commercial? He was everywhere. They came out with a boxing movie with Leon Kennedy and Jane Kennedy. They promoted boxing. Even when Rocky came out, they promoted it. What have they done to promote boxing lately? Why, as me, as an average fan, why do I want to tune in? There's no draw to me. That's the same thing that happened to me with soccer. I think I can't watch soccer because it's just too boring. I'm sorry. It takes too long for them. I mean, they kick the ball and they go all the way down the field, and then they get there and then nothing happens, and they go all the way back to the other side and nothing happens, and they go all the way back in, and then the clock stops at 45 seconds, but it's still running, so they go all the way back to the other end, and then out of the blue, the time is up. No, I don't want to watch that. So my question to you is, if you was a billionaire over boxing, what would you do to make it more entertainment for the average fan like me?
You got to bring boxers out, and they got to fight more. They can't keep saving themselves for money. You earn the money by having notoriety, and that's what people watch today. Casual fans watch notoriety. When you're looking at boxers, there's other entertainment sources that they're not utilizing to get themselves in front of everyday people. And that's where the promoter's supposed to come in. They're not only supposed to promote you when you're having a fight, they're supposed to promote you when you're not having a fight. And I think that's the biggest ripoff that boxers are getting. Like, you got 1,001 promotional companies. How many you got in the UFC? Use that finger. You don't have all these managers in different sides of the street and all this other stuff. Yeah, you got other promotional companies that you can go and fight under, other banners that you can go and fight under. But when you're in one house and you're in the UFC, you're under Dana White. And that's it. You know, you can fight underneath your whatever team you're with, and you practice with whatever team you're with, and you train with whatever team, but they're not the ones out there doing the promotions. Dana White is. Let your promotional team be your promotion. They're starting to do celebrity basketball games, but nobody knows you're a celebrity. You just look like some short dude on the court or some tall dude on the court, or, you know, and nobody knows who you are. You have to read the program to find out who the fighter is. They need to put on more short round exhibitions in a multiple facet that produce knockouts on a regular basis. And I mean, get you a 30-minute spot or a hour-long spot. You don't need 2 hours for boxing. Shorten the rounds, get people involved, and come on TV more often. And that will solve your issue of viewership, in my opinion.
Touchdown. I'm just letting you know that I was wrong. The Buffalo Bills is up 21-0. Josh Norman just scored on a 50-yard run, 52-yard touchdown run.
He still play?
Josh Allen? Who did I say?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Josh Norman.
Yeah.
I think I did say Josh Norman. I meant Josh Allen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
50-yard touchdown run. Okay. Next show, I'm definitely going to get this buzzer because there's an alert I got coming up. Still sticking with boxing. Me and my wife had a conversation about women's basketball. And I will admit, some of the things I said probably was misogynistic, you know. And here's what I said.
Yeah, sure.
Because the conversation was why women deserve equal pay to men. And first of all, I don't care who likes it or not. Women do not deserve, let me rephrase that. Women basketball does not deserve the same pay as the NBA. They don't. They don't generate the same amount of revenue, so therefore they shouldn't get the same piece of the pie. My counterpoint to that is this. In tennis, Serena Williams was one of the highest paid tennis players in the sport. Why? Because everybody was coming to see her. When you are marketable, when you are making money for the organization, you deserve to get paid. So, going back to what I was saying, so my wife was like, well, what would you do with women's sports or women's basketball? I said they need to promote it better. I said, because as of right now, everybody knows the women are good as far as shooting and stuff. Like, they got a lot of the fundamentals down. But it's not enough for me to want to see it. I needed to be promoted. Now, I don't know if Amazon was listening to me and they sent this information out to the WNBA, but all of a sudden, women's sports has become relevant. And to me, there's certain reasons. Angel Reese, Caitlin, whatever that girl in Iowa, Paige from Connecticut. What has happened is Asia Wilson. What has happened is they're promoting individual players and making it so that they're kind of relevant. 4 years ago, I couldn't name a WNBA star except for Candace Parker. Now I just rattled off 4. So to me, once again, it's about taking care of your billion-dollar business. If you want to be relevant, if you want to make money, if you want to do something, you have to treat it like it is. It's a business. You got to make the right moves that's going to make me say, Hey, baby, listen, I know we go on a cruise every year, but let's go out to Vegas and see a boxing match. Because I'll be honest, going to a boxing match is not on my bucket list. Y'all know I do not like the Dallas Cowboys, but I do want to see AT&T Stadium. It's on my bucket list. Watching a boxing match is not. Boxing needs to do something to make it relevant to be on my bucket list. That's my opinion. Tay sitting back like, no.
I definitely agree. It has to be promoted. I'm definitely with you on that. I mean, and just like you said, the WNBA has done a better job of promoting. Because my wife was a basketball player. She's a Hall of Famer at her college, and actually go watch WNBA games. We've been to Vegas several times. We've been to New York watching games. My wife's been out to California. To stuff. I mean, it's just the promotion is what it is. I used to want to go see Floyd fight, but all his fights were scripted the same. Long, regular, nothing flashy other than his speed. I used to want to see a Tyson fight. They were all, if you didn't make it to the first round, you would lose. And I didn't want to pay the money to watch a 1-round fight and things of that nature. So boxing hasn't given me any reason to want to watch that sport anymore. Only boxing fans such as yourself, Pat, who are actually into boxing on that level will follow boxing. But if you look at television, it's almost not a day that goes by that you don't see some form of a NBA person or player on TV, on a commercial or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to see LeBron. You're going to see Kobe. You're going to see Jordan. You still see Magic and Bird. You're going to see NBA pedigree. You're seeing WNBA pedigree. You know, you see football pedigree. You know, you got commercials with Tom Brady is still going to go along, but that's still affiliation to the NFL, so they stay relevant. Well, I can't tell you the last time I've seen a commercial about boxing. I see wrestling commercials. I still see those guys. You know, I see UFC commercials. I don't see any boxing commercials. So until they get a job, as you guys have both said, I have no interest because it's entertainment. It's what we've been talking about the whole time. I've seen more high school basketball commercials than I've seen boxing commercials. I don't even know this kid, super flag, and he's on TV. And I don't even know a boxer's name. And he's a high school kid that's on TV. I don't even know a boxer right now. Come on, that's bad. I know more about Mikey Williams and his shooting and all of that fiasco than I know about one boxer. Like, come on, they got to do a better job of promoting the sport.
Here's what I would do if I was in charge. If I was in charge first of all, if they called me up and said, Cecil, we want you to be in charge and turn around boxing, how long would you take? First thing I say is it's going to take me 3 to 5 years. Year one, I'm going to go to, Pat, give me your uppercoming boxer and what division they in.
So up and coming boxer now?
Yeah.
Just not a superstar, right?
Nope.
But
he's
not a superstar.
up and coming,
I'll just
and
stick with
you see him going to the top.
I'll go with this popular kid, Promoting. He's supposed to be the next Javante Tank Davis because he looks like.
I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna make him a villain. I'm going to tell him every time he gets in front of the camera, every time he gets in front of the ring, anytime anybody sees him, I want you to do stuff that's going to make people hate you. I don't care what it is. Talk about somebody's mama, spit on somebody, do what you got to do. I want you to make people hate you. For 2 years, that's all his job is to win boxing matches and make people hate him. Because in year 3, I'm bringing in a hero. I'm bringing in somebody who is everybody going to love him. Everybody's going to think he's great. He's wholesome and everything. And his number one goal is to move up the rank to fight the villain. Then in year number 4 or number 5, we are going to have the fight of the year. We're going to have the villain versus the hero for the real heavyweight or whatever division is for the championship. People are going to buy that and eat that up. Why? Because we have a villain. We know he's a villain. We hate this guy. But we got this other guy over here who we love. Oh my God. He is, in other words, we want Muhammad Ali. That's what Ali did. That's what every generation has always done. You always had a villain and you always had a hero. Somebody played the villain, somebody played the hero. We as people, we ate it up. Right now, I can't even tell you who's a villain in boxing. I can't tell you who's a hero.
I would say that
So you
would
basically,
typically work.
go ahead, Pat.
Oh, go ahead, Tay.
I was just saying, you
Oh, I
basically
was gonna
gonna
say,
turn it into wrestling.
right, right. The only thing is you got to keep winning for real in boxing. There's no script
we
for.
Right.
don't. No, we don't. No. I'm running a $1 billion
Take a
business.
fall.
Who I say wins. People don't gotta know. Why they gotta know? I'm running a business here.
Make it interesting,
All I need you to do is
but you got to
follow the
take a
script.
fall.
Huh?
Yeah, take
I
a
mean,
fall
If you can
in
get
that
people to
round
buy
8.
into it,
Say it again, Pat. I'm sorry.
if you can get people to buy into it, I have not seen a boxer as a gimmick boxer other than Blair Cobb. If you
Dude,
all look up Blair Cobb,
I'm
he
paying
is
you.
the definition of gimmick boxer.
I am paying you millions of dollars. Here's your choice. I can pay you millions and make you a millionaire, or you could be out of boxing and go work for Quick Stop. Which one you want to do?
But you're not paying them. You're just putting them. So the only
Oh,
person
no.
who's
You
putting it
get
together
paid.
is like Al Heyman.
See,
Yeah,
once
you
again,
get paid. You get paid.
You get paid. Everybody getting paid because we're running a $1 billion business. I know what you're saying, Pat, but what I'm saying is I'm running a business. Everybody getting paid.
Yeah, you'd have to create some sort of incident
Okay,
like they
hold on.
did
I'm
with
sorry.
Margarito, say his hands were wrapped or something. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
I mean, that's what I would do. I'm gonna put y'all talk for a second. I got to get a question off of Facebook. Somebody just said, "Hey, y'all not paying attention to me." Hold on.
So I guess Tay.
Trey Parsley Williams.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of because everything can be scripted. But boxing is such a brutal sport. You have to actually be able to box and be able to play the part. Both parties got to be involved in this script in order for it to work. So, and of course things can go wrong. I get it, but for the most part, I think what Cecil is saying is to build the hype up, you make sure you make it interesting. You put a couple of big demons in front of them, but you let the demons fall. Kind of like, I forgot the boy name. He used to lose all his fights, but he was just a grinder. You just let him go in there, you get a grind out fight, you make the fight interesting, but at some point you let that grinder gonna lose for the money. You know what I mean? He's gonna take the money. He's gonna take his $2 million payment and lose the fight versus taking the 1.5 and going to the next fight to make another 1.5 to go to the next fight to make another 1.5 versus a quick $2 million and then you don't fight no more. But it's all about the build up in the business, because you're not going to fight more than twice a year. It just doesn't happen. But it's enough people around that you can schedule enough fights with different people to build up that type of vibe and that type of backing. So I think that's what I got out of it anyway.
They call that setting up fights is matchmaking, carefully matchmade, and they get guys out here who got what they call puffed up records. They may be an undefeated fighter, and then they will go out there and they will fight them and beat them because for some reason we're still fooled by undefeated records. You also got guys, like you said, workers and grinders like Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti was loved not because he was the world's greatest fighter, but because you knew he was going to go out there and basically put his head down and just go to work, no matter what happened. I like Paul Williams for the same thing. They were fighters that you could enjoy parts of what they did. Were they great fighters? No. Paul Williams was better because of his length, but because of his non-knockout power, he just kept punching. And eventually it wore down on him. So you've got, you can build a guy up. You can, you with the right backing, but they need to be seen in front of people more often. And I think you hit it right on the head with the commercials, the advertisements, because we're looking at a guy like Andre Ward who came out the Olympics, hasn't been beaten since he was 12, and nobody knows who he is. Came out with the same pedigree as Sugar Ray Leonard, but no promotion behind it. And he's gone out, he worked with rap cats such as Jay Prince and all sorts of other characters, but not the real promotion because they don't look at boxing as a mainstream business. They don't look at their fighters as they only look at them as fighters. They're not real full-fledged commodities. They're not, in the car commercial with Shaq. They're not, up here on the Papa John's commercial making pizza. Some of these guys are taking their money, they own businesses and franchises, but they're not promoting other boxes with it. If I own a Little Caesars, guess what I'm putting on there? We're at Caesar's Palace eating Little Caesars with my new up-and-coming fighter. He's going to be on my commercial. We're going to be shooting, I'm from Grand Rapids. That's where all the cereal comes from. Guess what? Floyd put somebody on a cereal box from General Mills up there and say, hey, I know athletes used to be on the cover of Wheaties. I don't even know if people even eat Wheaties anymore. And you couldn't tell me who the last athlete was on a Wheaties box anyway. But at least start promoting these guys with places that can use their help, and they can use that place's help as well. Pair these guys up with something to get them known and shoot commercials. I mean, put them out there, because right now boxing is a closet sport. It's a cult following, and that's not what it was back in the 70s when these guys were heroes of our country, from Joe Louis to whomever else you want to name.
Right.
I didn't turn my volume down. I'll say this. Like I said, when you look at the history of boxing, everybody talked a certain amount of trash. Everybody had a certain amount of entertainment. And that's what boxing, which I think you have to have. So, like I said, I got a friend of ours who wants to join in on the festivities, so we gonna bring him over. Dre is in the house. What is going on, sir?
I wasn't trying to join in. I was just trying to get my responses responded to, man.
I feel you, man. I should have did something different. I'm gonna do something different next time, so we'll know when the stuff come in. But what's your question, man? What you got to say?
I ain't had no question. I just said you don't need no heroes for the boxing.
Dre.
What's up, Tate? Mike? Yeah, man. I said, you know, look, Tyson was a villain all by himself in boxing. And every time Tyson fight it, people watched and paid to try to see if he was gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? All you need is one guy in a couple of divisions that's wilding out, talking crazy, and winning at the same time. And that's gonna change the ball game, bro. If you got a Tyson that's knocking cats out and grimacing and mean mugging and talking crazy, or like, you know who would have been perfect? Somebody like Tank. Tank would have been perfect if he would have had a little bit of personality. The nigga has no I'm sorry, but he has no personality. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Tank would have been perfect. And so I'm just saying, man, he knocking cats out. He making cats look bad. Another cat who I think would be perfect for that role, if you know, because he's not that old, is Bud, man. Bud is a killer, bro. He's a killer. And can't nobody beat him. You know what I'm saying? Bud Crawford, there's nobody that can beat him right now, bro. He took out Errol Spence. He beat the what's his name? What's the big head cat name, Pat?
Sean Porter.
He beat Sean Porter, beat him up. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Crawford could be a star, but you know what, Terrence Crawford, he'd rather be with his wife, his girl, I don't even think they got married yet. He'd rather be with his girl and his kids than be out here talking crazy and building up fights, man. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have somebody that can win and have personality, bro. That's just what it is, so that people will root against him. All you need is one villain. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say.
I think Deontay Wilder fit the Tyson mold. He talked trash. He did certain things in his interviews. He packed power. He was knocking everybody out. I just don't think that they got to the point where they were able to promote him as well as they should have. There's no big promotions behind Deontay Wilder except for Deontay Wilder. He played the villain in some roles, and some roles he was the hero. He put on costumes when he came to the ring. He fired Olympic managers, Olympic fighters that were in his corner. He also had trilogy fights with a guy and said everything underneath the sun that he needed to, along with fussing out other people from new media. And this is the problem, and I won't say problem. New media is new media when you're catching fans on the internet, but you're still not catching billions of people who are not interested in your sport when you're new media. So commercials that are shown on TV, like during the Super Bowl, we know Budweiser because we know the horses that are being pulled by the Budweiser horses. Right. We know that we're going to see the frogs on there, or the West Up, or whatever else they got going on. We know the Doritos commercials are going to be on there. Those are going to capture the casual fans. Al Heyman has billions of dollars. You have key pivotal fighters. I know that you can afford a commercial during the Super Bowl to promote your fighters. I know you can link them up with they can't eat just one Pringles, whatever. Put somebody on. Do what you need to do to really promote your sport and not make underground money off pay-per-view. And that's the difference between old media and new media.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I don't know where everybody else went. They just kind of left us out here by ourselves, Pat. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But I think UFC do a better job in that UFC knows how to use social media to advertise. Like you know, WBC, the WBA, IBF, Ring Magazine, they don't use social media well. You know what I'm saying? I see plenty of UFC knockouts, and you know what I'm saying? And the UFC guys have taken what used to be what the boxing did to a whole other level. They about scrapping in the streets. Then they create, you know what I'm saying? Then they create shows, you know what I'm saying? Where one fighter got a team of fighters, another fighter, and then the dudes end up getting beat, getting beat for the box for real. You know what I'm saying? Ready to fight each other for real outside of the ring, kicking in those. So I don't think boxing has the strategy to pull that kind of stuff off anymore. You know what I mean? And that's that, bro. That's that. But you're right, Pat. There's been some marquee fighters that could have fit the mold, but These dudes is whack, man. They whack. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta be real. They whack, man. They whack. And it's the difference too, though. Look, check this out, though. I don't mean to take over the show, but look at this, though. Look, boxing is old money, man. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is old money. UFC is new money, man. You know what I'm saying? And those cats that's in boxing, they figure they gonna do it their way. They gonna keep it their way, and that's gonna be the way. That ain't working, my boy. That ain't working.
All right. So it
UFC,
should be some
baby.
sort of boxers union or something. Yeah. They
You ain't-
need help.
You ain't taking over the show, man, because me and Tay, we like, well, I don't know what y'all talking about, but okay.
Don't know none of that.
Tay, listen, me and Tay did the same thing. So that when I put y'all on the screen together, I was like, okay, this be a good time for me to take a break. Tay took a break. Tay did something.
It's too late.
Because I'm like, he said, no, here's the funny thing. He said that big head dude, and Pat knew who he was talking about. Lord.
Right. I started
That's what's up, though. That's what the show is all about. It's not all about,
I can tell you what, the score is 21-6. Steelers
Yes,
just
sir.
scored.
Oh, the Steelers scored. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. They
Hey, man.
scored.
People gotta stop hating on my boy, man.
Who's that?
Mike T from the Steelers, man. They trying to take his job.
Hey,
Huh?
man, that man
They was
is-
trying to take.
We already talked about that. That man is arguably the greatest coach ever.
Man, look. I'm like, why they trying to take that man's job and he out here taking mediocre teams every year? That blows my mind, bro.
I will tell you. And what's the disclaimer? The opinions you're about to hear is not really my opinion. It's just an objective view. The Steelers are just like the Cowboys, the 49ers. And what I mean by that is they expect championships. And when they don't get championships, there's an uproar. But the
But
thing with
hold on,
fans, Go ahead.
They gotta spend some. You gotta get a quarterback, a wide receiver.
let me get to
You can't
that.
just
Let me get to
defense,
that.
man.
Let me get to that. The problem with fans in this day and age is we want everything quickly. They forget that Roethlisberger just retired, 2-3 years ago? So, they didn't do like Green Bay did, which was drafted the quarterback of the future, let him sit for 3 or 4 years, and then bring him in. They had Mason Rudolph.
Bro, but Roethlisberger wasn't good for the last 2 or 3 years of his career, bro. They should have proceeded to write him on the wall.
I mean,
They don't want to spend no money, man.
but Tomlin's only the coach. He's not the GM.
I know. Yeah.
He can only coach the garbage you give him.
That's
And
right.
he did. They still ended up with a winning record.
Never had a losing record. Never.
Now, here's the thing.
Mediocre team.
Could Mike Tomlin be my coach? Oh, yeah. I'd hire him in a second. Do I think Mike Tomlin, if he get fired by Pittsburgh, is going to be unemployed long? Oh, no. Hold on. He might get hired by Dallas.
I was just about to say, give him that Cowboys job, see what happens.
Now,
Look, our boy Stan will be happy then, boy.
Listen,
Yes.
I don't know if it works though,
Really?
because you got to think he is in control of his team, and he puts people in place that run the team the way he wants the team run. Dallas got issues with management. Period.
Yeah.
Everybody's in charge.
Yeah.
So
They need a
I don't know if
general
that works for
manager.
Dallas.
Yeah, but they need a general manager. You're right. They need to. Jones need to step aside and hire a real general manager, man.
And here's the thing. I don't think Tomlin would go to Dallas anyway. If I was Tomlin, I might. No, Seattle, they doing the same thing. They don't let a coach do what he's supposed to do. That's why Pete left. San Diego is trying to get Harbaugh.
They bet not.
Well, I like him here. I like him here in Carolina, but
No.
I wouldn't coach. What the about the fight?
Need pieces.
I wouldn't coach Carolina if you paid me $1 billion. I would, but this is the place. Carolina is the place where coaches go to die.
Man, look.
Because we don't know how to. We're not going to pay anybody. We're not going to draft anybody, and you're definitely going to die.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, they owner going to get banned from the league in a couple weeks, so don't even worry about it. They finna have to get a new owner.
I can't wait.
So,
I can't wait.
would you
because
have
he is
Pat?
out of control, man.
Pat, I can't hear you.
I said
Yeah,
I
you right,
apologize,
Pat.
fellas. I ran over my time as far as the
Oh, no, dude.
podcast goes. I apologize,
No, you good.
but I gotta run.
You gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go. I
Just
apologize. I've
like
been
a
ignoring
black
these
man.
phone calls.
It's just like a black man. He gonna get everything started, and then now he got to go.
Hey, 21-7 at the half. D got hurt with like less than a minute left in the half. You hope he comes back.
Who got? Oh yeah. Well, on that note, since Pat about to leave, I'm about to wrap it up because I ain't had my breakfast. Y'all done make me list the first half, but I appreciate y'all fellas tuning in today. We will be doing this soon and very soon. Anyway, anybody got anything before signing off?
Today
Hey, much
is
respect.
Martin
I
Luther
appreciate
King
it.
Day. Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to give a quick quote, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King says, faith is taking the first steps even when you don't see the whole staircase. I believe that applies to all sports, everything that we've talked about.
All right, cool. Tay, what you got?
Hey, who gonna follow that and mess that up? That's Martin Luther King, man. Salute.
Oh, that's funny. Dre, what you got?
Hey, man, I'll second that emotion, man. You got to end on a high note like that, boss.
Well, I feel you. Well, with that said, I'm not going to jump in anyway. We appreciate you tuning in. We will let you know when we're going to be back sooner than later. With that, I say peace. We out.